Across South America spreads an immense green ocean, a living expanse where nothing ever pauses, not for a single heartbeat. Here the air sits heavy and wet. Dark storm clouds drift on without end, and thunder rolls across the treetops like the beating heart of an age-old realm that has yet to fall silent. Under that thick ceiling of leaves, each blade drinks in sunlight, and each root reaches deeper into the soil. So, as a whole, they build a vast living engine that keeps the entire planet's climate in balance. Behold the Amazon, the greatest rainforest anywhere on Earth, a realm that feeds countless living things, shields mighty rivers, and cradles a vital portion of the planet's every breath. Yet the very land that grants life is also ruled by some of nature's most unforgiving laws. Rainfall can feed the forest into rich abundance, and still a storm can topple a towering tree, while rising floods and hunting predators remind everything alive that staying alive here was never simple. The Amazon is far more than a forest. It is a savage, untamed world that almost no one can ever truly master. Spanning upward of 2 million square miles across South America, it resembles a single colossal living body, shuddering to the rhythm of storms that never seem to cease. For roughly 50 million years, this vast green labyrinth has quietly scrubbed the air, pulling carbon out of the sky and giving oxygen back to sustain life the world over. Every crown of leaves works like a solar panel, quietly gathering energy, and every tangle of roots acts as a lung sunk into the damp earth, keeping this great engine turning without rest. Through the smothering heat, the drifting veils of mist, and the deep thunder of tropical downpours, the Amazon proves itself no mere woodland, but ranks among the mightiest ecosystems this planet has ever held. Within that green expanse, close to 1/10 of every species humankind has ever recorded is still feeding, hunting, breaking down, and rising anew through an unending loop that pauses for nothing. The wet season here is far more than weeks of relentless thunderstorms. It marks the dawn of some of the most breathtaking ecological cycles found anywhere on Earth. The trees conjure rivers of their own high in the sky, releasing about 20 billion tons of moisture into the air each day, more than enough to send rain across a whole continent. When the floodwaters climb as much as 49 feet, the entire forest becomes a sweeping green sea, and fish glide and hunt high among the ancient treetops. Those same rains bring a curious gift: phosphorus-rich dust lifted off the far Sahara Desert and carried over the sea to nourish the forest floor once more. It is also the loudest stretch of the entire year, when a wall of sound bursts from countless frogs and birds, all slipping into their breeding season. In many ways, rain is the lifeblood of it all, the force that turns this whole forest into a self-balancing organism, able to feed and steady itself with astonishing accuracy. Among the trees, the jaguar reigns as the true dark shade of this forest, a hunter that leaves its victims almost no time to grasp what has struck them. It can hold perfectly still for hours in the scattered light beneath the trees, then burst forward in an instant so sudden that death lands before its prey can even flinch. Where tigers and lions tend to smother their prey, the jaguar punches its fangs into a victim's skull or through the temple bone, splitting it with a bite among the fiercest of any great cat. Its golden fur, scattered with dark rosettes, was never made for show, but to melt its shape into the broken light and shade of the jungle. And while most big cats keep well clear of water, the jaguar treats rivers as hunting trails, slipping silently across the current to close in on some of the largest prey it knows, even the caiman crocodilians. It spends nearly all its life in solitude, ruling a range that can spread across 39 square miles, marking the trunks with its scent and long claw gouges, the same way the forest itself proclaims its power. In the dim air below the thick Amazon canopy, the harpy eagle commands the heights as a hunter with no true rival but us. Enormous as it is, this bird still slips through dense treetops in near silence, thanks to the special design of its wing feathers. Its most fearsome weapon is the rear talon, stretching close to 5 inches, matching or even topping what a full-grown North American grizzly bear carries, and mighty enough to punch through a skull in one blow. While most eagles chase fish or reptiles, this one sets its sights on the mammals of the treetops, hunting sloths and monkeys instead. When it strikes, it plunges at nearly 50 miles per hour, hitting with such forces that its prey is stunned and left all but paralyzed in a heartbeat. The Petarao River drives its entire flow over one sheer edge, hurling it straight down into the chasm beneath and giving birth to the ferocious Kaieteur Falls. The thunder of falling water rolls across the forest all around, while pale mist lifts without pause, leaving the whole place forever shrouded in a soft grey veil. Along the very lip of the cliff, green moss and small meat-eating plants still cling on, building a strange little world in a setting of brutal extremes. High on branches that scarcely stir in the dark, humid Amazon canopy, the sloth passes its days as though motion were something it never really required. Its dense, sluggish coat does far more than clothe it. It shelters a tiny world of fungi, algae, and moths that live nowhere else but on sloths. Though its fur swarms with germs and parasites, the animal rarely suffers infected wounds, and researchers now pore over the fungi living in its coat in the hunt for new antibiotics. Almost its whole existence plays out among the branches, where being slow turns into a tactic, letting it vanish into moss, shade, and foliage. Yet roughly once each week, this creature that hardly ever leaves the treetops must clamber down to the forest floor to do its business, and that is exactly the moment it is most exposed. For nearly half of all sloth deaths strike during that short trip down. Its droppings hand nutrients back to the earth, feeding the very old trees the sloth calls home. In sharp contrast to the sloth's near-total hush, the canopy trembles at daybreak with the savage bellow of howler monkeys. The entire troop cries out as one, not to court partners, but to stake out territory from afar, keeping rival groups from clashing face to face. Up close, that call is loud enough to leave human ears aching, and many judge it the loudest animal voice on land, on par with a jet engine at takeoff or a rifle shot going off right next to your ear. This bellow doubles as a show of power, since males with the deepest, loudest voices tend to carry smaller testicles, a hint that they lean on sound rather than other reproductive contests to defend their rank. Loud as they are at dawn, they pass most of the rest of the day nearly frozen in place among the branches. Their coats of black or deep red sink into the gloom of the ancient forest, making them far harder for hunters such as jaguars to spot. In the shadow, humid depths of this forest, color is no idle ornament. It serves as a currency, spent to warn, to lure, to deceive, and to survive. Each hue carries a purpose of its own. Fiery red becomes the signal of desire and bonding across this endless green sea. Green is the phantom of concealment, letting a creature fade into the pattern of leaves and hunt without a sound. Yellow, by contrast, wears the crown of warning, a dazzling beauty that delivers a blunt message of venom and death. All of it reveals a survival playbook in which disguise holds the key both to lasting and to hunting well. Under the age-old canopy of the rainforest, the toucan looks like something conjured by a magician, its huge bill splashed with three bold shades: bright green, deep red, and burning orange, braided into one hypnotic display. Dazzling as any artwork, that bill is really a feather-light living tool, built on a sturdy honeycomb frame that lets the bird pluck berries from the outermost twigs beyond the reach of any other creature. It serves as more than a feeding instrument, since this three-colored bill doubles as a clever cooling system, shedding extra heat in the crushing warmth of the tropics. More amazing still, that heavy-looking tool is gentle enough to peel small seeds or clamp firmly onto slick prey, using the fine serrations lining its edges. Among the deep beds of decaying leaves lies a burial ground of forgotten blossoms, where nature parades its oddest and most spellbinding shapes. Wander into this dreamlike world and you meet the passion flower, its strange reproductive parts resembling a time machine driven by gears built by forgotten gods. Just alongside it, heliconia glows like drops of fiery red parrot beaks, brimming with rainwater that becomes tiny pools where forest frogs take refuge. Strange as it sounds, the hot lips bloom flaunts two plump crimson lips, an unsettling visual lure meant only to mask the small, foul-scented flowers about to open within. Any hint of romance disappears the moment you meet Rafflesia, a rootless, leafless monster that pumps out the heavy reek of rotting meat until the air itself feels like a graveyard for insects. In a shadowy, tucked-away nook, the ghost orchid drifts into view with an eerie air, a pure white spectre hovering in the air, its whole body having renounced chlorophyll and leaves altogether. Below the merging currents where the waters meet, the Boto glides like a hushed pink phantom, threading between the silt-laden shallows and the darker Amazon flow. Unlike the ocean dolphins that cruise in big pods, the Boto usually keeps to itself or to a small pair, unless food is unusually plentiful. They are not born pink either, but begin grey and slowly change with age. As their skin thins, their blood vessels show through, and their frames stay endlessly active. So it can rest and still lift its head for a breath. Half of the Boto's brain slips into sleep, while the opposite half stays fully alert. Its teeth are unusual too, the front ones seizing prey, while the rear ones grind through the tough shells of crabs and turtles. And though it dwells within one of the planet's most enigmatic river networks, the Boto overflows with curiosity, often drifting close to passing boats to watch or play. But the true pulse of this whole wilderness is a single mighty artery, the Amazon River, hauling moisture and nourishment to every tear of the green body sprawled over the continent. Fed by glaciers melting across the Andes, the great river sets out on a course of roughly 4,400 miles before it empties into the Atlantic Ocean. Each second it flings out close to 7.38 million cubic feet of river water toward the Atlantic, with power so vast that the next 7 biggest rivers on Earth combined still fall short. This lone river also supplies close to a fifth of every drop that the world's rivers pour into the seas, making it the greatest circulatory network our planet possesses. Just beyond Manaus, over in Brazil, lies a wonder known as the Meeting of Waters. Here the coffee-dark Rio Negro runs beside the sandy-brown Rio Solimões for close to 4 miles, and the two never blend. Seen from overhead, that junction looks like an immense dividing line slicing through the very core of the rainforest. The genius of this great forest rests not in any one animal, but in the unseen threads that bind them all into a single collective being. Among the tiers of the canopy, the marmoset stands for pure teamwork, its family built around a single dominant pair. Though only that pair breeds, everyone from the father down to the eldest offspring takes an equal hand in raising the twins. Daring leaps and patient grooming turn into vital lessons in survival, weaving old and young into one seamless whole. When one of them finds food, its call to the rest rings out before the first mouthful is even swallowed. Proof that togetherness counts for more than a filled belly. Living for far more than itself, this little primate becomes a living pulse of the rainforest, scattering seeds and holding the everlasting equilibrium of its ecosystem in place. Far up in the highest reaches of the tropical canopy, 18 species of macaws reign like radiant kings over the blue sky. They wield a bill like forged steel, closing with a grip to match a big crocodile, powerful enough to split rock-hard seeds that a person could only break open with a hammer. More remarkable still, these parrots flock to clay banks to swallow the earth itself, a built-in remedy after feasting on poisonous forest fruit. Macaws are not just powerful, but among the most devoted animals anywhere, pairing off with a single mate for life and gliding wing to wing for all their days. Living in flocks of as many as 30, they hold an intricate social web together, with loud cries that raise the alarm and keep them linked across great distances. Picture a sprawling maze of 400 lush green islands drifting softly over the dark Rio Negro, as black as a mug of strong coffee. Paddle here, and you slip through drowned forests, where old tree trunks have somehow learned to breathe below the surface for months on end. Stranger still, this tannin-rich black water works as a natural barrier that mosquitoes cannot survive, wrapping the great forest in an almost perfect stillness. In that enigmatic realm, the elusive pink dolphins of the river now and then break the surface like river phantoms rising to greet you. When the dry season settles in, the entire archipelago turns into paradise, as ribbons of powder white sand surface deep inside the rainforest. This is no ordinary reserve. It is a living masterpiece sculpted by the wild, where any line dividing land from water simply melts away. Far up in the leafy crown of the Amazon, the white-faced Saki materializes like a shadowy figure behind a mask. Its oddest feature is the stark split between the sexes, the male draped in jet dark fur set against a pale, mask-like face, while she keeps a soft gray-brown coat, which lets her vanish into the forest with ease. Often called the flying monkey, it can spring from a dead stop and clear as much as 33 feet across the treetops with no run-up, a feat of leaping with few equals among primates. Rather than making the racket of other monkeys, they live quietly, like shadows, and stay fiercely faithful to a single lifelong partner. Most striking of all, this species carries an iron tough gut and teeth as mighty as bolt cutters, letting it feed on hard, poison-laden seeds that others shun, and carving out a proud, singular niche in a merciless world. If the cat world ever crowned a superhero, the Margay would run away with the title for pure agility. It is easy to recognize by its handsome coat, dark rosettes scattered across a golden-brown base. The Margay is a superb ambush hunter, yet what really distinguishes it is its remarkable nimbleness. This cat possesses a gift no other feline shares: the power to swivel its ankles through a complete 180 degrees. That remarkable trick lets it dash straight down a tree trunk head first, just like a squirrel. Concealed beneath the dim roof of the canopy, this clever cat is a fearsome hunter with a broad menu spanning small mammals, birds, and reptiles. Today, the grace and rarity of the Margay stand under serious threat. Deforestation is steadily tearing apart and shrinking its precious home, driving Margay numbers lower year after year. Long pictured as pristine wilderness untouched by human hands, the Amazon in truth cradled flourishing civilizations whose numbers may once have soared into the millions. With the aid of LiDAR laser scanning, researchers have peeled the canopy away on their screens and exposed a sprawling web of age-old garden cities linked by strikingly straight, deliberate roads. These people were far more than hunters. They were gifted farming engineers who forged the deeply fertile dark earth called terra preta, a soil that renews its own fertility even across the centuries. Far from ruining nature, the ancient peoples of the Amazon reshaped the forest into sweeping orchards, leaving an ecological inheritance we still draw on today. Such discoveries are rewriting the past outright, recasting this rainforest from an eerie green blank into a proud, long-lost marvel of city building. Under the flooded flats carved by the river's rise and fall, the green anaconda slides along like a current made flesh. Tipping the scales at over 550 pounds, it has no need of venom, crushing its prey in a lethal grip, so tight it can feel the exact heartbeat fading within. With eyes and nostrils set high on its head, this serpent, which can stretch close to 30 feet, becomes a flawless submarine, lying almost fully submerged as it waits for the perfect instant to strike. Rather than laying eggs, it delivers live young, letting these little predators fend for themselves at once in the unforgiving Amazon. If the animal kingdom ever elected an ambassador of peace, the capybara would surely sweep the vote in a landslide. They are famed for a friendliness so total that they let other creatures, birds, monkeys, even young caimans, perch atop their backs without so much as a flinch. Behind that mild manner sits a very practical trick, for come morning, these rodents feed on their own droppings to reclaim the gut microbes their digestion depends on. Slim webs stretch between their toes, easing those bulky bodies into the water and letting them swim faster and steadier than their awkward gait on land would ever hint. At the first sign of danger, capybaras neither roar nor charge, but burst into loud barks that ripple through the group like an alarm. And when escape seems impossible, they plunge far beneath the surface and may even nap under floating mats of plants until the danger drifts off. Rain rises, falls, and rises again. Roots drink, predators hunt, and the forest keeps breathing without pause. For 50 million years, the Amazon has run this engine alone, asking nothing and handing the world the air it takes for granted. It is not gentle, and it was never meant to be. Survival here is earned every single day, from the jaguar down to the smallest wasp. But the balance it holds is fragile now, and the greatest threat it faces never came from within the trees. The Amazon can still recover if we allow it. Leave your thoughts below and travel deeper with us into the wild places that keep us alive.